Listen carefully, because what you are about to hear may force you to question your kindness, your loyalty, and even your compassion. Let me ask you this. How many people have you lifted again and again while your own strength quietly faded? Picture it. Late nights, emotional weight, constant fixing, yet nothing changes. Buddhism reveals a truth most ignore. Sometimes compassion becomes self-destruction. Not all help is virtue. According to Buddhist teachings and Buddhist wisdom, there are people you must not help, even when guilt demands it. If you never help these people, you protect your growth and success mindset. Before we begin, subscribe to Deep Wisdom, where every video opens a doorway to calm, clarity, and timeless insight found nowhere else. Tonight, we learn why to stop helping everyone, and the powerful bonus lesson at the end may change who you become. 1. The manipulator. Why do some people grow more dependent the more you help them? Sit with this question gently. The Buddha warned that not all requests for help are rooted in suffering. Some are rooted in control. Some hands reach out not to rise, but to pull you down with them. There are people who do not want freedom. They want leverage. They study your kindness, measure your guilt, and learn exactly which emotional strings to pull. Each time you help, they tighten their grip. Not because you are wrong to care, but because they are unwilling to change. The Buddha never taught blind compassion. He taught awareness, because help, when offered without wisdom, can quietly become a chain. You believe you are saving them, but slowly you are being trained. Trained to respond, trained to explain, trained to feel responsible for choices that were never yours. This is the manipulator, not always loud, often subtle. They speak the language of pain fluently. They remind you of their wounds every time you step back. And the moment you reclaim your space, they accuse you of abandonment. The suffering begins here. Not theirs, yours. Because every time you rescue them from discomfort, you inherit their lesson. You absorb the emotional debt they refuse to pay. Compassion without awareness becomes permission for destruction. The Buddha compared this to a vine, not one that climbs toward the sun, but one that wraps around your neck. At first, it feels like connection, then it tightens, and one day, you realize you can no longer breathe freely without their approval. Pause now. Close your eyes. See your energy as light, warm, limited, precious. Notice where it is being pulled instead of shared. Feel the quiet exhaustion in your chest. Gently, without anger, bring that light back to yourself. This is not cruelty. This is clarity. Ask yourself honestly, who feels weaker when I help them? Do I feel drained rather than uplifted after giving? Am I offering compassion or being controlled? The Buddha did not ask you to stop caring. He asked you to stop bleeding for those who refuse to heal. Real compassion does not trap another in dependence. It invites responsibility. Sometimes the most loving act is stepping back and letting truth teach what kindness could not. Remember this deeply. A hand offered without awareness can become a chain, and a disciplined, calm mind knows when to open the palm and when to let go. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're not sure what to say, just type, "I stop carrying others." 2. The secret competitor. Why do some people resent the very hand that lifts them? The Buddha observed this quietly, long before modern life gave it new names. When help awakens comparison, gratitude turns bitter, and what was once connection slowly becomes rivalry. There are people who accept your guidance, your support, your patience, but not your growth. They smile while you struggle and stiffen when you rise. Your progress becomes a mirror they did not ask to face. And instead of learning, they compare. Comparison poisons gratitude. This is the secret competitor, not openly hostile, often encouraging on the surface. Yet beneath the calm words lives a silent measuring. Your strength unsettles them. Your peace exposes their unrest. Envy wears the mask of friendship. The Buddha taught that suffering grows when the mind turns outward to measure itself. Help, when filtered through ego, becomes fuel for resentment. You give to uplift, but they receive to compete. And slowly, the bond shifts from shared growth to silent tension. Watch how suffering multiplies here. The more you rise, the colder they become. The more clarity you gain, the more distance they create. They do not celebrate your healing because it reminds them of what they avoid. And instead of walking beside you, they start watching you. The Buddha offered a simple image. Two birds sit on a branch. One learns to fly. The other stares at the wings, counting feathers instead of practicing flight. The branch does not break, but the bond does. Pause. Breathe. Imagine comparison as dust clinging to your palms. Gently open your hands. Let it fall away. Each soul walks a different path. Growth was never meant to be a contest. Ask yourself with honesty, who grows distant when I grow strong? Does my success disturb their peace? Is my help creating harmony or rivalry? The Buddha never warned against generosity. He warned against attachment to being admired for it. You are not here to dim your light, to soothe another's insecurity. True compassion does not compete, compare, or keep score. Sometimes the most skillful act is to step back, not in anger, not in pride, but in clarity. Because help that breeds rivalry no longer heals, it divides. And a disciplined, calm mind knows this truth. You can walk in kindness without dragging others through your shadow. 3. The drama magnet. Why does their life never calm, no matter how much you intervene? The Buddha noticed this pattern with quiet clarity. Some people do not suffer from chaos. They live inside it. Disorder becomes their identity. When the noise fades, they feel empty. These are the drama magnets. Every crisis is urgent. Every emotion is amplified. You step in with patience, advice, and effort, yet the storm returns, louder than before. Not because your help failed, but because calm was never their goal. Chaos is how they feel alive. The Buddha taught that suffering repeats when one clings to disturbance. When turmoil becomes familiar, peace feels threatening. Solutions are offered, but never applied. Healing is suggested, but quietly resisted. Attention becomes the real reward. Watch closely. They complain of fire, yet keep adding wood. You remove one problem, and another appears. You soothe one wound, and a deeper drama rises to take its place. The cycle continues, not by accident, but by attachment. Here, compassion without awareness becomes exhaustion. You listen, you intervene, you sacrifice your stillness, yet nothing settles. Because some storms are not weather, they are chosen climates. And the more you try to control the wind, the more lost you become in it. Pause now. Breathe slowly. Imagine silence as a clear lake at dawn. Still, unbroken. Notice how your body softens in its presence. Now sense the waves you've been trying to calm that do not belong to you. Gently step back onto the shore. Ask yourself with honesty, do they seek solutions or attention? Does peace make them uncomfortable? Am I feeding the fire I wish to end? The Buddha never taught indifference. He taught discernment. You are not abandoning someone by refusing to participate in their chaos. you are refusing to mistake noise for life. True compassion does not reward self-created suffering. It invites responsibility. Sometimes the most loving act is silence. Not cold silence, but grounded stillness. When you stop feeding the storm, you protect your mind. And a disciplined, calm mind understands this truth. You cannot heal someone who needs chaos more than peace. The ungrateful. Why does giving begin to feel invisible with them? The Buddha observed that suffering deepens when help is received without reverence. When humility fades, gratitude disappears. And what remains is expectation. You give, yet nothing settles. You offer, yet nothing is held. These are the ungrateful, not always rude, often polite. But inside them, entitlement has quietly replaced appreciation. What you do for them becomes normal too quickly. What you sacrifice becomes assumed. And what once felt meaningful starts to feel strangely empty. The Buddha warned that help without awareness erodes both giver and receiver. When effort is not valued, it cannot be sustained. What is not respected is eventually abused, not always with cruelty, but with careless consumption. Watch the pattern closely. You give once, and it is accepted. You give again, and it is expected. Soon, your kindness is no longer a gift, it is a requirement. The moment you pause, disappointment appears. Not reflection, not gratitude, only demand. This is where suffering grows quietly. You begin to question yourself. Am I not doing enough? Should I give more? Yet the bowl never fills, because it is cracked. Pouring water into it only proves one truth. No matter how much you give, it empties just as fast. The Buddha taught that generosity must meet readiness. Help offered to entitlement teaches nothing except dependence. It does not awaken humility. It trains expectation. And slowly, your compassion becomes fuel for disrespect. Pause here. Picture gratitude as fertile soil. Rich, alive, capable of growth. Now notice where you have been planting seeds that never sprout. No roots, no shoots, just bare ground, again and again. This is not failure. This is clarity. Ask yourself gently, is my help acknowledged or simply assumed? Do they expect more rather than appreciate what is given? Is my generosity teaching respect or entitlement? The Buddha never taught endless giving. He taught wise giving. Giving that strengthens character, not erodes it. Giving that invites responsibility, not passive consumption. True compassion does not ignore imbalance. It responds to it with discernment. Sometimes the most compassionate act is to stop pouring, not to punish, not to withdraw love, but to let the other feel the absence that reveals truth. Because what is valued grows, and what is taken for granted decays. Remember this deeply. What is not valued cannot be sustained, and a disciplined, calm mind knows when generosity nourishes and when it quietly teaches the wrong lesson. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're not sure what to say, just type, "I stop carrying others." 5. The lazy. Why does your support make them weaker, not stronger? The Buddha spoke gently about this truth because it is painful to accept. Help, when it replaces effort, slowly erodes strength. What feels like kindness in the moment becomes the seed of suffering later. These are the lazy, not in body, but in responsibility. They are not incapable, they are unwilling. Each time you step in, they step back. Each time you carry the weight, they forget how to stand. And over time, they begin to believe weakness is who they are. The Buddha warned that liberation cannot be outsourced. No one awakens by being carried. No one grows by avoiding effort. When struggle is removed too early, wisdom never forms. and without wisdom, dependence takes root. Watch the pattern. You solve the problem once. They remember relief, not the lesson. You solve it again. They stop trying. Soon, your help becomes the path of least resistance, and their own capacity quietly withers. This is how compassion turns against itself. You believe you are easing suffering, yet you are postponing growth. Effort avoided today becomes suffering tomorrow. The burden grows heavier, not lighter, until resentment appears on both sides. The Buddha offered a simple image. A man refuses to walk, yet complains his legs are weak. He waits to be lifted, then curses the ground for being far. The truth is uncomfortable, but clear. Strength is built only through use. Pause now. Imagine setting a burden down, not with anger, not with punishment, but with trust. Trust that they must walk their own path. Feel the relief in your shoulders. Notice the calm that follows when responsibility returns to its rightful place. Ask yourself honestly, am I removing necessary struggle? Does my help replace their responsibility? Who am I robbing of growth? The Buddha never taught abandonment. He taught skillful restraint. True compassion supports effort. It does not replace it. It encourages standing, not leaning. When help becomes a crutch, it quietly disables. Sometimes the most loving act is to step back and let effort begin. Not because you don't care, but because you care enough to allow strength to form. Remember this truth. No one is liberated by being carried, and a disciplined, calm mind knows when help heals and when it weakens. 6. The proud and arrogant. Why do they resist guidance yet still accept the benefits? The Buddha spoke of this with quiet seriousness. Some people do not reject help because they lack need, but because ego refuses to bow. They will take what serves them, yet refuse what could change them. These are the proud and arrogant. They ask for outcomes, not insight. They want relief without reflection. When advice is offered, they defend. When truth appears, they explain it away. Help is accepted only if it does not disturb their self-image. The Buddha taught that wisdom cannot enter where pride stands guard. Pride closes the door, wisdom knocks upon. It convinces the mind that it already knows. And once knowing becomes an identity, learning feels like humiliation rather than growth. Watch the contradiction carefully. They benefit from your effort, your resources, your time. Yet when you speak of responsibility, patterns, or change, their posture hardens. Guidance feels like an insult. Correction feels like attack. They do not want direction. They want confirmation. This is where help becomes wasted effort. Not because your intentions are wrong, but because their heart is sealed. You pour clarity into a cup that will not open, and slowly, frustration replaces compassion. The Buddha offered a simple image. A sealed cup is lowered into a river. The water is pure, abundant, generous, yet nothing enters. Not because the river withholds, but because the cup refuses to open. Pause here. See humility as an open vessel, wide, receptive, alive. Now notice where openness is absent in the one you are trying to help. Feel the difference between readiness and resistance. Let that awareness settle without judgment. Ask yourself honestly, do they listen or immediately defend? Is advice met with humility or hostility? Can help reach a closed heart? The Buddha never taught forceful compassion. He taught right timing. Help offered to arrogance strengthens ego, not wisdom. It feeds the illusion of self-sufficiency while postponing awakening. And in trying to help, you quietly exhaust yourself against a wall that will not move. This does not mean you withdraw kindness. It means you release attachment to outcome. You stop explaining. You stop proving. You stop pouring yourself into resistance. Sometimes silence teaches more than instruction. True compassion respects readiness. It knows when to speak and when to step back. Because wisdom cannot be pushed into pride. It can only be received through humility. Remember this deeply. A closed cup cannot be filled, no matter how pure the river. And a disciplined, calm mind knows this truth. Help is only effective where openness lives. 7. The fool. Why do they repeat the same mistake after every warning? The Buddha spoke of this with deep compassion, not frustration. Some people hear wisdom clearly, nod thoughtfully, and then return to the very path that caused their pain. Not because they are cursed, but because insight unused becomes insight wasted. These are the fools, not unintelligent, not evil, simply unwilling to apply what they already know. They seek advice often, yet change rarely. Each conversation sounds sincere, each promise feels real, and yet nothing shifts. The Buddha taught that hearing truth is not the same as living it. Wisdom is not information, it is transformation. When words do not become action, they rot inside the mind and turn into excuses. Watch the pattern honestly. They ask for guidance, then resist discipline. They want clarity, but avoid discomfort. When consequences arrive, they act surprised, though they were warned many times. Help becomes a cycle, not a bridge. This is where compassion quietly turns into enabling. You explain again, you warn again, you comfort again. And each time, the lesson is postponed, not learned, not integrated. Teaching without application becomes permission to remain unchanged. The Buddha offered a simple image. A traveler asks for directions, listens carefully, thanks you, and then walks in the opposite direction. When lost again, they return, asking why life is so difficult. The path was clear. The walking was not. Pause now. Watch words dissolve into silence. Notice how explanations fade, advice disappears, and only actions remain. Truth lives there, not in what is said, but in what is done repeatedly. Ask yourself gently, do they learn or endlessly repeat? Is my guidance applied or politely dismissed? When does teaching stop helping and start enabling? The Buddha never mocked foolishness. He warned against feeding it. Compassion that ignores patterns is not kindness, it is blindness. When someone refuses to practice what they already understand, further instruction becomes noise. This does not mean you withhold truth. It means you stop repeating it to ears that do not translate listening into living. Sometimes the most powerful lesson is allowing consequences to complete the teaching. A disciplined, calm mind recognizes this boundary. It knows that wisdom cannot be forced into habit. Growth requires effort, humility, and repetition in action, not conversation. Remember this clearly. Hearing truth is easy, living it is rare. And the Buddha's warning is simple and firm. When guidance is ignored again and again, continued help no longer enlightens, it delays awakening. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're not sure what to say, just type, "I stop carrying others." 8. The dishonest. Why does helping them feel unsafe, even when your intention is pure? The Buddha spoke of this quietly because deception rarely announces itself. It hides in half-truths, missing details, shifting stories, and the heart senses danger before the mind finds proof. These are the dishonest. They do not always lie loudly. Often they omit. They rearrange facts. They reveal only what benefits them. When you help, something feels unstable, as if the ground beneath the exchange is moving. Because it is. The Buddha taught that where truth is absent, trust cannot live. Compassion depends on clarity. Without honesty, kindness has no place to land. You give support, but you are not given reality in return. And help offered without truth becomes blind risk. Watch the pattern carefully. Details change, stories shift, accountability is avoided. When questions arise, defensiveness replaces openness. You begin to second-guess your memory, your judgment, your intuition. This is not generosity, it is erosion. This is how suffering enters quietly. You are no longer helping a person. You are managing uncertainty. You cannot respond wisely to what is hidden, and slowly your peace is traded for vigilance. The Buddha offered a simple image: building a home on sand. It may look solid for a while, but without a firm foundation, collapse is sudden and unavoidable. No amount of effort can stabilize what lacks truth beneath it. Pause now. Picture clarity as light. Calm, direct, honest. Notice how shadows retreat when truth is required. Feel the relief that comes when nothing needs to be hidden, defended, or explained away. Ask yourself honestly, do they hide facts or change details? Is transparency missing when it matters most? Can compassion survive without honesty? The Buddha never taught naive kindness. He taught wise compassion. Help offered in deception does not heal, it entangles. It pulls you into consequences you did not choose, for actions you did not commit. This does not mean you become cold or suspicious of everyone. It means you respect truth as sacred. You do not invest your energy where honesty is optional, because clarity is not cruelty, it is protection. Sometimes the most compassionate boundary is truth-based distance, not punishment, not anger, simply refusal to build where the ground will not hold. A disciplined, calm mind understands this deeply. Trust is not demanded, it is earned through transparency. Without it, even love becomes unstable. Remember this clearly: where truth is absent, trust cannot live. And the Buddha's warning is firm: help given without honesty does not save. It sinks both giver and receiver into confusion. 9. The wicked and sinful. Why did the Buddha warn against helping those who enjoy causing harm? Because mercy without accountability does not heal, it empowers darkness. Some suffering is not accidental. Some pain is chosen, repeated, and defended. And wisdom must recognize the difference. These are the wicked and sinful, not those who fall and regret it, not those who harm and seek change, but those who injure, exploit, or destroy and feel no remorse. Sometimes they justify it, sometimes they laugh at it, sometimes they simply repeat it. The Buddha was clear: compassion does not protect cruelty. When harm is deliberate and unrepentant, help becomes endorsement. Silence becomes shelter. And kindness, when misapplied, becomes a weapon in the wrong hands. Watch the pattern without denial. The same damage happens again. The same people are hurt. Apologies are empty or absent. Consequences are avoided. And still, you feel guilty for stepping back, as if boundaries were betrayal. This is where clarity must replace emotion. Helping someone who delights in harm does not redeem them, it exposes others. You are no longer easing suffering, you are allowing it to spread. Mercy without limits teaches the wicked that there is no cost. The Buddha offered a sharp image: feeding a snake that has already bitten you. The act feels generous, the outcome is predictable. The snake does not learn gratitude, it learns confidence. Pause here, stand still. Feel the strength beneath your feet. Boundaries are not walls of hatred. They are sacred ground. They protect life, dignity, and truth. Without them, compassion collapses into chaos. Ask yourself with courage, is harm repeated without remorse? Do they feel regret or pleasure? Is my silence protecting others or enabling harm? The Buddha never confused forgiveness with permission. Forgiveness cleanses the heart. Accountability protects the world. When harm is intentional and ongoing, distance is not cruelty, it is responsibility. This does not mean you become hard, it means you become clear. You stop negotiating with destruction. You stop offering warmth to those who weaponize it. Sometimes the most compassionate act is refusal. A disciplined, calm mind understands this painful truth. You are not required to sacrifice others or yourself on the altar of misplaced mercy. Love that ignores harm is not love. It is fear wearing kindness as a disguise. Remember this deeply. Compassion does not protect cruelty. And the Buddha's final warning is firm and unwavering. When help empowers harm, stepping back is not guilt, it is wisdom. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're not sure what to say, just type, "I stop carrying others." Bonus: the unrepentant. What if suffering is the only teacher they will listen to? The Buddha spoke this truth softly because it challenges the heart. Some people are not waiting for help. They are waiting to be spared from consequence. And as long as someone intervenes, awakening is delayed. These are the unrepentant, not those who stumble and reflect, but those who repeat harm, deny responsibility, and defend their patterns. They explain, justify, redirect, but never bow inward. Their pain continues, yet nothing changes. The Buddha taught that change begins only when denial ends. As long as blame has somewhere to go, insight has nowhere to land. Help offered here does not relieve suffering, it anesthetizes it. And numbness is the enemy of awakening. Watch carefully. They acknowledge outcomes, but not causes. They describe consequences, but avoid accountability. They want relief without recognition. And every time you soften the impact, you unknowingly steal the lesson life is offering. This is where compassion must become courageous, because some lessons cannot be outsourced. Wisdom grows only where responsibility is accepted. When you protect someone from seeing themselves clearly, you become part of the illusion that traps them. The Buddha offered a quiet image. A locked door stands before them. The key is already in their hand. Yet they keep knocking, blaming the door, cursing the room, begging others to break it open, never once looking down. Pause here. Step back gently. Feel the space return to your breath. Trust life to teach what love could not. Some awakenings require silence. Some transformations require absence. Ask yourself honestly, have they truly acknowledged their actions? Is accountability missing even after repeated chances? What if stepping away is the final act of compassion? The Buddha never promised comfort before truth. He promised freedom after it. When repentance is refused, continued help becomes interference. It keeps the wheel of suffering spinning, quietly, endlessly. This does not mean you wish them pain. It means you stop blocking it. Because suffering, when met honestly, can break pride, dissolve denial, and open the door wisdom waits behind. A disciplined, calm mind understands this boundary. It knows when presence heals and when distance instructs. Not every soul awakens through kindness. Some awaken only when illusion collapses under its own weight. Let this truth settle without guilt. You are not abandoning them. you are returning responsibility to where it belongs. Love that never allows consequence is not love. It is fear of being misunderstood. Remember this deeply. Change begins only when denial ends. And sometimes, the most compassionate act is stepping away, so truth can finally speak without interruption. Quick summary of the principles. The manipulator. Some people use help as a tool to control rather than to heal. The more you give, the less responsible they become. They are not seeking growth, only advantage. Helping them strengthens dependence, not transformation. The secret competitor. Not everyone who accepts your help wants your well-being. Some quietly compare, resent, and compete with you. Your growth threatens their fragile sense of worth. Helping them fuels rivalry instead of harmony. The drama magnet. Certain people survive on emotional chaos. They reject solutions but crave attention. Your involvement keeps their cycle alive. Peace enters only when you stop engaging. The ungrateful. Help loses its power when gratitude is absent. Entitlement replaces humility in their heart. They expect more without honoring what was given. Continuing to help erodes your self-respect. The lazy. Avoiding effort is their hidden intention. They rely on you to escape responsibility. Your help delays their inner strength from forming. Growth begins only when effort is unavoidable. The proud and arrogant. Ego blocks wisdom from entering. They reject guidance while accepting benefits. Pride prevents self-reflection and learning. Help cannot reach those who refuse humility. The fool. They hear advice but never apply it. Mistakes repeat because awareness is ignored. Teaching without action produces no change. Wisdom wasted becomes suffering repeated. The dishonest. Truth is missing in their actions and words. Trust cannot exist without honesty. Your help becomes unsafe and unstable. Distance restores clarity and peace. The wicked and sinful. They cause harm without remorse. Compassion without accountability enables destruction. Mercy must never protect cruelty. Boundaries become an act of moral clarity. The unrepentant. Bonus. They deny responsibility for their actions. Change is impossible without acknowledgement. Life must teach what help cannot. Stepping away allows awakening to begin. True compassion is not endless giving. It is conscious giving. The Buddha taught that wisdom must guide kindness, or kindness becomes bondage. Helping without awareness drains the helper and delays the awakening of the helped. Peace returns the moment you stop reacting from guilt and start acting from clarity. Better than 1,000 hollow words is one word that brings peace. Zen philosophy reminds us that stillness is not withdrawal, it is alignment with truth. When the mind is calm, compassion becomes precise and boundaries become sacred. Let your silence teach where words have failed, and let your absence awaken what your presence could not. Final reflection. Where in your life is stepping back not rejection, but the beginning of wisdom? If this teaching resonated with you, like and share this video, share your opinion in the comment box, and subscribe to Deep Wisdom for more inspiring Buddhist insights on living a peaceful life.